In this first episode, myself and my very good friend Leona Mayer are visiting the 7 acres of beautiful countryside at the Draper's Kennel, where its owner Rose will give us an insight into the daily life of a racing kennel, including the walking, grooming, feeding and the general care of our favourite 4-legged athletes. Join us in our attempt to become kennel hands for a day. Well, we are here stood in 7 acres of beautiful countryside at the Draper's Kennels. Rose, it is a pleasure to be here and we're going to be doing all sorts of stuff today, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to give you an insight into what goes on in a greyhound kennel, a fully functioning greyhound kennel, racing kennel, and we're going to show you a little bit of what goes on, a few of the dogs, and hopefully it'll be a good day.
Should be a good day. And I've also roped in my old friend Leona Mayer, usually seen on ITV Racing and Sky Racing, loves a horse, loves a dog. Can't wait to see you get stuck in either. In the morning, we let what seemed like hundreds of dogs out in the paddocks for a blowout and some zoomies, like they do every day at Rose's Kennel, even on Christmas Day.
Where did he win on Sunday? Sheffield.
Yeah.
And how far does he run over?
So he runs over 500 metres.
Yep.
He's won quite a few. He's a big dog. So
he is a big dog.
We kind of took it a little bit slower in terms of bringing him forward.
Yeah. So saying he's a big dog, is size relevant to ability, or you meaning just from it, you give him time?
Just give them time in terms of this him to take a little bit longer to develop.
Yeah.
And kind
like horses.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you've got a massive dog, you kind of wait a little bit
because they're just going to get injured and stuff if you rush them.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's this one owned by?
This is owned by a plasterer from Sheffield.
Yeah.
Very similar to me. He's been brought up at the dog track.
Oh, right.
We're very similar ages.
Nice.
And we used to kind of lay on the kind of settees at the track.
Oh, that's nice.
Head to head all the time. But I think that's one of the massive things with the sport is a lot of people have been brought up with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big catchment is once you're involved in them and you're handling them all the time, you kind of stay in the sport.
But like all sports, you need new people too.
You need new people.
Which is the whole point, isn't it? It's like, it's all right having everyone and their son and their daughter and someone's granddad and grandson.
Yeah, but the thing
but then
is,
as soon as some of those lines stop, you've got to get new people,
and when tracks close, you know, people that always used to go to Bellevue, for example.
Yeah, in that catchment area.
In that catchment area. Some of them, like the granddads and that, the retired ones, might still come to Sheffield or go to Monmore or Perry Bar or wherever. But the kids have got jobs and, you know, the younger ones, it's keeping them involved.
So then you just lose them.
So you lose them and you lose a full line.
Yeah.
And then it's their kids that aren't brought up around greyhounds, and that's a scary thing of where would we be in if another...
Well, where will you be?
Where will we be?
Will there be greyhound racing in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Exactly. I think, you know, the short term we're reasonably safe. But where will the dogs come from if there's no owners?
Yeah.
I mean, we're very fortunate that we own very few of our own dogs.
Okay.
Most of them have got, you know, other owners, but...
So you're being paid for them?
We're being paid for them.
Okay.
But, like, the amount of staff we've got, it all has to be paid for. And it's... how do we guarantee an income?
Yeah.
You know, if something like COVID happens again, where we don't race for 3 months, you know, you've got to have
a bit of a buffer as well.
You've got to have some sort of
and you've got to be making money, not just covering your costs. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? What's your family doing it for?
Exactly. Why do I work 7 days a week if you're only covering?
They're great and it's lovely to do something that you love, but you do have to pay bills.
Exactly, and that's the thing is we do what we do to keep them as well as they are. You know, everything that we feed is the highest quality we possibly can.
That costs money.
And that all costs.
Yeah.
You know, we're not doing this to be on the cheap or to make a killing. We just want to make enough to kind of carry on doing what we're doing and make sure the staff are looked after.
Yeah. Completely understand. Look at him. They're way bigger than you think, aren't they?
This is Hostile Pablo. His kennel name's Swift Hostile. It's pet name Pablo. Pablo!
Rose and Leona went on to discuss how greyhound racing differs, or not, to horse racing, with regards to splitting up the sexes and the difference in races as you get to the higher levels of competition.
So obviously horse racing, there's races just for fillies, there's races for both. Is it the same for greyhounds or not?
It is
Do they have just bitches race?
It is in open racing. On the graded scene, not so much. Okay. It's sort of mixed.
As in once you get to high levels.
Once you get to high levels, and when you get to high levels, you will get a bitches race. You'll get a bit more variety in your racing than the graded racing, which, you know, can be quite similar week in, week out. Hello.
You're calmer apparently, is that right?
I find boys calmer. The amount of nutty bitches we've got in this place. And that's not just the staff.
After zooming around the paddock with his sloth Teddy, our new friend took himself off to the kennel at the top of the field to indicate he was tired and wanted to head back to bed.
Yes.
Is that it? You want to go home now?
Yeah, that's his way of saying
he's gone in the kennel.
Go on.
Ah. So this dog is owned by a plasterer.
Yeah, Jack.
A working man's man.
Working man, yeah.
He bought this dog from you or himself?
No, he bought it from one of our contacts in Ireland.
Yeah.
He came over when he was about 18 months old.
Okay.
So
had he ran over there already?
He'd had trials over there. I don't think he'd had a race. But it's someone that we kind of buy from regular.
Fine.
We've got quite a good kind of relationship with him, and
you trust
he
them.
kind of said,
That's
nice. I think this dog will be all right for you. This dog will be all right for Sheffield. And he's won a few opens. He's won top grade.
Yeah.
And things like that. But yeah, it's a good sport, and it's something that Jack will bring his two nieces and his nephew down to. So it's not too late at night. It's, you know, it's a local thing, and the Sunday afternoons at Sheffield, you kind of get quite a, you know, family oriented
nice vibe.
Crowd.
Yeah. And I think because the races are so quick, as in they come quick after each other,
you've got a lot going.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on. There's a lot of vibe.
Yeah.
You can really get involved constantly rather than waiting around.
Yeah, definitely.
Or of course, if you're just coming to watch your greyhound, you can nip in and out quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't expect exact pounds and pence, but what does a greyhound cost then? So for a person, a group, if they want to have a greyhound, what would they have to pay to buy a normal one? And what does it cost?
How long's a piece of string?
Yeah.
Is probably the best answer.
Okay.
There will be dogs ranging from £1,000 up and up.
Yeah.
And then to keep them in training, so I charge £12 a day.
Yeah.
Which kind of involves...
Is that in its entirety? So it's £12 a day?
Yeah, you don't have any entry fees or anything like that to pay for greyhound racing, which is unlike horse racing.
Yes.
That's sort of everything involved is the £12. The only thing that we kind of would charge extra for is diesel for open racing and vets, and sort of we use a physio for them.
And you say diesel for open racing because they have to go further?
Yeah, because we go further basically. Okay. But yeah, I like to go, so I don't charge for my time.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it's a good sport for people to get into, and it's good, you know, if you've got a group of lads. So Jack that owns him, he's got a few sort of syndicated dogs with some of his friends as well, and they all like to come. So
he was in it when he was a kid, and then he's got his friends into syndicates.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, awesome.
I think that's the thing of when you've come for a few nights out with someone, and then you think, oh, actually, I do quite enjoy
you could say
this.
to them, oh, you could come in for £60 a month or £80 a month and get a few of them in.
Once your prize money kind of comes off your bill, when your dog's running, it's very manageable.
Is it?
You can buy a greyhound as a newborn pup after a couple of trials, or if they do something spectacular early in their career over in Ireland or here in the UK. Prices range from a couple of £100 to numbers high in the 5 figures. All will require an ongoing monthly fee to keep them in training, regardless of their initial price tag.
And you said they have physio?
Yes.
All of them?
So we will take, if a dog's not quite running up to form, or we think there might be a little niggle with something, we'll sort of take it down to George Drake, who we use, and he'll check them over, and then we'll sort of treat them. He'll tell us, oh, it's a little bit sore in this, a little bit sore in that.
Yeah.
And we'll use sort of ultrasound, sort of bone radials, laser. We'll use those sort of things to kind of treat up the little injuries. Okay. And they sort of stop the big injuries from coming as well.
Of course, yeah. And is he going to run again soon?
He will probably run at the weekend.
Oh, really soon?
Yeah, they run once a week, so he ran on Sunday. So
they all run once a week, more or less, unless there's anything wrong with them.
Unless there's something wrong with them, once a week.
Even if they win?
Even if they win. So he won on Sunday.
So when you go greyhound racing, each week, each day, how many greyhounds do you take racing at any one time?
So it depends. So at Sheffield, they do bags racing, which is sort of daytime racing. Yeah. Because we've got so many of our dogs that are owned by people that want the night out, we don't tend to have as many runners on that. So today, for instance, I've got 2.
Just 2.
But then on Friday night, we had 16.
Did you?
So, but that's
how many members of staff do you need for 16 runners?
So there was 3 of us there.
Because the racing's so fast, you've got to have loads of people. Yeah.
And we'll have like multiple in each race. So it takes some managing.
Yeah,
it keeps you busy.
Yeah, yeah, but you seem to do it well.
Yeah, it's
going well.
A balancing act.
Yeah, and you took over from your father.
Yep.
And he took over from his, or his dad was into it?
His dad was into it. He owned a lot of the dogs at sort of the beginning. He bought them all, and then my uncle Trevor, he had the license for a little while. And then my dad took over when he was about 19, so yeah.
And then how long have you been in charge of the reins?
In December.
The leads?
Yeah, the leads. It had been like kind of a gradual change, so I'd sort of taken over more with kind of dealing with the owner's side of it and sort of more of the racing. It just been a gradual kind of him slipping away.
Yeah, so there was no big change.
There was nothing really
you just do what your dad did, right?
Yeah, nothing changed day to day at all. The only thing that changed is we probably drink more tea now because I like.
Is that right? I was going to say, was there anything you wanted to change when it was your dad? But you're pretty happy with how everything was.
Yeah, nothing really changed. Sort of some of the staff have been here longer than I've been alive. You know,
that's nice.
We're more of a family than anything else.
Yeah, and you know it works well if everyone's staying and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And nice for these because they get used to the same people.
They get used to the people, and I think the good thing about us having like multiple members of staff is they see different people. So they're not just like bonded with one person,
not too attached,
which makes it hard for sort of the rehoming side of it and sort of stressing. And yeah, so I think it's good to have a mixture. We've got sort of men and women, which makes it where no one sort of, that can only go with a woman, that can only go with a man.
Yeah, that's good.
Rose has always been passionate about the rehoming side of her business, and we met a couple of her retired athletes looking for their forever sofa. All greyhounds need a permanent comfy chair after their racing career is over. So, if you or someone you know wants a dog known as the fastest couch potato, then point them in the direction of a racing greyhound.
So this is Mac, who is 4.5, and he retired?
Probably, I think it was March.
And he's been castrated.
Castrated.
And he wants somewhere warm and nice to live.
Yeah, he wants a nice settee. You need a rather large settee for him.
You would need a large settee for him.
Yeah.
How many retired ones have you got here that you need to find homes for?
We're quite lucky. We do quite a lot of the rehoming ourselves, which is some trainers do, some trainers don't. But I kind of find a lot of joy in sort of seeing them on settees and finding it ourselves. And we have a lot that come back. You know, when the families go on holiday, they come back here and they love it.
So you'll have them while they're on holiday.
I'll have it when they're on holiday. Yeah,
that's nice.
I think they like to come back. They come back to what they know a lot of the time, and it's nice for us to see them. Teresa often cries when a retired dog goes out. So it's nice to have them come back and see them. It makes us very busy though in the summer.
Of course, yeah.
When everyone's on holiday.
Another 10 dogs have appeared. All the families are on holiday. Yeah. And how difficult do you think it is to rehome them? Do you, like, if people have owned them as owners or in syndicates, or do they tend just to try and help you rehome?
Yeah, I think most greyhound owners that have got racing dogs will more likely than not have a retired dog at home as well. Really? So that makes it a little bit easier. But you know, a lot of friends and family. But it is just kind of getting the greyhounds out to a wider audience. It's such they're a breed that aren't really spoke about a lot in the media in terms of kind of pets, but they settle into homes really quickly, really easily.
Yeah.
I mean, mine, he had his 100th race on the day that I got my house keys, and he came in, never had an accident. He likes his walks. He goes up to the pub, puts his feet up in the pub. He's not bothered in the slightest. They really do adapt adapt so quickly.
Yeah, but you were saying obviously they have such big short bursts of energy and then they're tired. So again, it's not like you'd think they'd need loads of exercise and
really
walking for hours so they don't chew your house.
No.
That's not the case.
No, I've got John at home, and he has 2 half-an-hour walks a day, and after 15 minutes he's like, can we go back now? I've done my business, can we go back?
Oh, that's nice.
So they're really easy, they're really low maintenance, and they're quite short-haired, so
yeah.
Once they've had their initial kind of kennel coat come out, it's quite manageable.
Okay.
They do make such incredible pets, and I think the thing with us is ours adapt quite well because, like I was saying, they're handled by different people. They're kind of used to seeing different things in the kennels. We use hoovers in here. We've got radios on in every block. So they're used to a lot of the things that they'd see in a home.
Everyday life.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why I find it a little bit easy to rehome is because they're used to all of these sort of things. But
yeah. So he retired through odd little injuries. When do they know? How long is a greyhound's racing career? I know that's the same as long as a piece of string.
Yeah, I think
normally.
So. Most greyhounds will start racing when they're sort of between 15 and 18 months old.
Yeah.
And then the average age, I'd say, is probably about 3.5 when they'd retire. He had a bit of a big break in his career, so he was able to run for longer.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've still got dogs that are sort of 4.5 and still running and still winning and still running well. It really is.
So 4.5 sounds young, 3.5 for a dog, a greyhound, for its career to be over, but then they're running every single week.
They're running every week, but the thing is, when they retire, they've got such a long life ahead of them.
Yeah.
The career is such a short part of the life that they do just adapt to different things. And, it's not like, even when you see sort of a 7-year-old greyhound come up for rehoming, it's still young.
But yeah,
it's still relatively, we kind of, as sort of trainers and kennel hands, we think, oh gosh, 7 years old and it's only just looking for a home. And then actually you sit back and you think, that dog's probably got another 5 or 6 years of life left in it.
Yeah.
It's probably only half of its life it's spent in racing kennels or in a racing environment.
Yeah.
But they make incredible pets, and sort of it is a thing of finding the right dog for the right sort of home and things like that. But that's the same with any breed.
Yeah.
And there will be one for near enough any family out there.
Yeah, because you said already some here are much quieter than others. Some like a routine.
He's really laid back, really clean. You don't know you've got him. He's good with kids. He's good with other dogs, even different breeds of dogs he's good with. But then you'd have some way you wouldn't trust them with kids, and you wouldn't trust them around other dogs. But that is the thing. They're all lovable in their own way, and when you've got a lot like we have, you learn the quirks quite quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi. Oh,
You know what's amazing as well? The love that you have for them and they have for you.
We spend so much time with them. I mean, this is a job in a career. It's not even just that, it is a lifestyle, because you've got to be dedicated, you've got to be willing to be here 7 days a week, because at the end of the day, whether it's Christmas Day, Boxing Day, wherever,
they've got to be done.
They don't care.
No,
they don't know what day it is. They just want you. They want the dinner, more importantly. But yeah, it's a massive thing of, you have to be dedicated to this job because you couldn't do it otherwise.
Are greyhounds fussy eaters?
Some can be, but on a whole, we feed quite a lot of either cooked chicken or raw beef. And
for 80 greyhounds?
Yeah. We use about
That's a lot of chicken.
We use about 80 pounds of meat a day.
What about in a home though? If he got rehomed, do you think he would eat dog biscuits?
Oh yeah, they have biscuits as well. Sort of Time is the ground biscuit that we use. I still feed mine on Time. Sometimes he'll be tracked to some meat from here. Sometimes it'll be tinned food, and he doesn't care either way.
Okay, that's good to know.
He doesn't. But I think the thing with us is we have to feed such high quality food because you get out of what you put in.
Of course, yeah.
Are there any race day snacks, like I've seen on social media people give a beef burger from McDonald's or chicken nuggets or whatever? Do you do any of that?
I once tried to do that, and on my way home from Monmore once, we'd won quite a big race, and I tried to give him a Big Mac, and it was Ballymac Ramsey, and he just looked at me as if to say, I am not eating that crap.
No way. So if you want a greyhound, Mac is looking for a home, and he's well behaved. And clearly likes to be loved.
Yeah, he does. He does.
After their run around the paddocks, the dogs head back to the kennels to have a nap and wait for lunchtime. Rose took us over to see them having their Netflix and chill time and told us all about their personalities and racing achievements. So what's the beds situation?
So we have a mixture. So we use paper bedding normally, which kind of gets changed as and when is needed, more so in the winter than anything. We use shavings on the floor in the kennels. Some people kind of will sort of wash it down and just have it wet. We like to keep the shavings. I like, wet, dry floor, dry beds. I don't want it all getting in dirty and mixed up.
Yeah.
But I think it makes the floors nice and cool. They can lay on it. It's reasonably comfy because it's got a bit of protection with the shavings, as he's demonstrating. But some dogs, like sort of Ace here, he has a duvet. It's just not fair. But in the summer, a duvet. It's kind of a mixture of being comfy and cool.
Oh, so cute.
We've spoke about him.
It's Swift Hostile, who, when we were talking, the owner was talking about retired greyhounds and how they don't need that much exercise. Well, I don't think we were in the paddock for more than 15 minutes throwing the teddy around for him, and this is the result. He does not want to move.
He hasn't even made it onto his bed. He got in his kennel, laid down, and that's him done until he gets his dinner.
That is brilliant. Before they head off to the track on race day, a greyhound will be groomed to within an inch of their life so that they are looking their best. But more importantly, so they can let you know if there are any niggles the trainer needs to be aware of. This happens every race day, but also a couple more times during the week to make sure these athletes are in tip-top condition.
This is
Headford Madam.
Yeah.
She is one of our race dogs that's here. She is just turned 2, so she's not had too many races, but she is a very lovely, friendly girl, which is why we've picked her for this.
Yeah, she's in a kennel with 2, so in here we've got double kennels, which I've never seen before.
Yeah, so we'll have 2 dogs put in together. They'll wear muzzles for the first few days. If they're getting on well, put them out in paddocks without the muzzles on, see how they play and things like that, and then sort of we'll wean them into no muzzles at all, which is sort of what all of these are like throughout the kennel, with people in different stages, some that have got them on all the time, and things like that. So
okay.
Yeah.
And we've got lots of things going on here, lots of grooming things.
We do. I have to do a lot of treatments here, so obviously we like to keep on top of the niggles, which makes the big injuries sort of less serious, or not all, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of massage. So for that, we'll use sort of the green rubs. We spray that on, give them a massage, sort of rub that in, get a little bit of heat in your fingers, and then work into the muscles that way. We have them checked by George Drake, and we get all of these sheets, which we'll kind of document what each dog's got. So we'll have the race name, how long they need to be off, if they're okay to run while on treatment and things like that. Most greyhounds that are running will have something that's, that we're working on all the time. So hips are a really common thing with greyhounds. So sort of the hip muscle here. Yeah. A lot of the time they'll have it where it's either too big or there'll be a groove in it. Hers are quite good actually. But for that, we'd use sort of our ultrasound machine. So we'd use an ultrasound gel on there, 3 minutes of treatment, 3 or 4 times a week, just to keep on top of that. It saves any other injuries occurring, hopefully, touch wood.
And this
infrared, so this is our laser. So we'll use this more for sort of tendon injuries as opposed to muscle. Okay. A little bit more fiddly than the ultrasound. So we tend to use the ultrasound when we can, but then we'll use things like bone radial, which is more of a blister, for things like, again, very similar to what we've used, tendons and things like that. We'll sort of rub that on, leave it on, and we do sort of a 3 days on, 3 days off with that. So that gives you them time to kind of recover from the first course. And then we have all of our sort of training things. So we'll use greyhound liniments, sort of if we've got any sore muscles that aren't quite pulled, just a little bit tender, we'll use the liniments on there.
What is that?
So this is... it smells minty.
So a bit like a menthol rub or something.
Menthol rub, that sort of thing. Yeah. So we'll use that on any sore muscles to take the tenderness away. Very similar with the charity rub. That's very similar in terms of it's that menthol kind of situation. And then it's a lot of kind of looking after little things like sandburns that dogs can get from the sand being a little bit too dry, and kind of rubs in between the toes, to little scrapes that they get. Sort of if they get a knock at the bend, they might get a little bit of scrape down the back legs. We can try and keep on top of all of that.
And you're just keeping an eye on them all the time.
Keeping an eye on them, yeah, that's the thing. And because we're handling them so much, to sort of get handled at least 8 times a day, that's just going in and out of paddocks. So you're handling them, and the good thing is different people might spot different things. Someone might come and say, oh, I've just seen this on such and such. Can you have a look at it next time out? And then sometimes you'll get them out next time and be like, oh yeah, that is a problem, or it's just knocked it itself while it was out. So the good thing about having lots of different eyes on them is that we're all spotting different things, and we're all thinking, oh, I didn't see that last time I saw her.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing here. And then a lot of grooming. We have to sweep up a lot of hair here.
Yeah.
But we're really lucky in terms of we've got kind of the walking machine that we'll use to sort of help bring dogs back from injury. Or
so that's like a treadmill. Like
a treadmill, basically, a doggy treadmill. We have the Portamag boxes, which are kind of an electronic pulse to kind of help the muscles repair from injuries. Yeah. So the dogs will go in there, and it's like a magnetic currency that goes through. Right. They kind of go in there for like 20 minutes after they've ran. It helps just boost them up.
And that's just a washing machine, right?
Just a washing machine. There's no there's no tricks there.
The duvets. That's important. That's important. So grooming. How often are we grooming greyhounds generally?
So more so in the winter, I find, when the coats aren't looking quite so good. But at the moment, it's quite basic. We tend to bath them. In the summer, we try to do it every 3 weeks, every dog, which is back-breaking work.
Yeah.
But they all get massaged before and after every single race, and they'll get groomed, and they'll have the teeth checked and things like that throughout. Nails get cut on quite a regular basis. That's again back-breaking work when you've got so many.
Yeah.
But we kind of try and take it in turns, and we work as a team with things like that, because they're sort of the extra jobs that we do after we've turned out.
Fine.
And things like that.
But with so many, it's got to be done all the time to get them all done.
Yeah, it's one of them things where sometimes you'll be like, right, I'm in the mood today, let's get all of these nails done.
Yeah, and there's so many of them. So what do we do for grooming? What's
so grooming wise, we would spray. This is the Sharps Green Rub, so we'd spray that all over. And then we would massage that in.
And she doesn't mind it.
No, they're so used to it, that's the thing. So it feels good to them. So
can't spray my horse with anything sprayy.
No.
Sprayy. You have to spray it in your hands and rub it on him. He doesn't like fly spray and stuff. He's not for it.
So when you're sort of massaging, you're sort of getting...
It smells really strong, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're getting all of the muscles in the shoulders.
And I can see the coats just coming out when you're rubbing.
Yeah, the coat comes out when you rub sort of the dead fur and things like that. You're getting really into the neck and in between the shoulder blades, behind the shoulders. The main thing with this is that you're just getting hands on, and you can feel sort of anything that's not right. If you've got any hard points in the muscle, anything that's too soft.
But that would only come from because you've done it so much for so long.
Yeah,
you know what you're feeling for,
you know what you're feeling for, and that's the thing. And that's why I like to go to George's. I like to. We're always learning in this.
Yeah, you're watching him do his job.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that one of the big issues is getting compliant in your job. You know, none of us are perfect. No trainer's perfect. We're all constantly learning. What works for me won't work for everybody. Sort of, some people will feed in the morning. We feed at lunchtime. And it's finding a routine that works. So what works for me isn't necessarily
you're not saying that's the right way. It's your way. Yeah.
It's just our way.
Yeah. Fine.
So once we've massaged, we'll go in with a brush.
That's why she likes the spray, because she knows the massage is coming after the spray.
So we'll give them a quick brush all over. Like I said, there's not too much on her to come off because the brush is quite regular. And then we'll use sort of a plastic mat sort of situation, just to get as much as we can off. And then I like to go in with a brush afterwards.
She likes it, doesn't she?
Too. They like the treat that they get at the end of it as well. So we'll give her a quick once over with a soft brush. Gets rid of a lot of the sort of dead skin that we've kind of brought to the surface when we've massaged, and then we're good to go. And then she'll be good to go when she's had a chew.
Oh.
Because they don't last 2 minutes in this place.
No. Oh, what a good girl.
But see, the thing is, they're so used to being handled and massaged and things like that, that it's just normal to them.
Are not all of them this good, though?
Most of them are.
Are they?
If they've been here for a while, they will
They've just got
stand.
used to.
So they get used to treatments. Sometimes, you know, you might have something to massage on the shoulder and you'd maybe spend 10 minutes massaging that, or you'd spend 3 minutes sort of treating something on the thigh. They're used to being handled by people to do those sorts of things, so it makes it a bit easier.
Perfect. What with the preparation, sounds daft this, there wouldn't be preparation as regards, you said they have a massage before they race.
So they'll have a groom the morning of.
They get groomed as well?
Yeah, they get groomed the morning of the race, and then they'll get groomed in the week. You know, sometimes the coat might be coming out, they might be looking a little bit rough, they might be where they get massaged every single day to try and bring the coat out.
That's nice that you want them to look
Yeah, that's the thing
on
is,
race day.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
they get groomed they get groomed before the races.
Is that nice? So do lots of people come and visit there?
Yeah, the owners will come. Yeah, the owners will come and see them. Typically on non-race days, but the traditional day was always Sunday. But now we race Sundays. It's a bit. People turn up throughout the week,
and they just can come willy-nilly, can they?
Yeah, they just let us know as long as the dog's not running that day. We try and keep it to sort of Monday, Wednesdays where there's no racing going on to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
but
and you've obviously got a lot of people coming and going, so you want to make sure there's people around. But I guess
there's always people here, and like my mum and dad live on site. When they're not here, I am. So there's always someone knocking about here. They're never really left at all.
Okay, and what's bedtime? When are you done? When does everyone leave?
So we will start in the morning at 7. Yep. We will kind of do the first time breakfast, second time dinner, out again for a third time. We'll finish at 3, and then we sort of take it in turns to come back at night, and someone will come between 5:30 and 6 o'clock and have every dog out again for a 4th time. That takes about 2 hours, so it tends to be.
Isn't it? So there's still someone here, at night. There's still someone here that late.
7:30 at night.
So you kind of manned here from 7 till 7, or 7 till 7.
Basically, yeah. It's that's the thing. You've got to love this job. There's no way else you'd possibly choose to do it.
Yeah. Do they tend to want to go to the toilet outside? Do a lot of them not even do it in the kennels?
No, they'll not do it in the kennel, a lot of them. They're so used to the routine. They know sort of when they wake up in the morning, it's not long until we're going out again. We've got some dogs where if they've emptied in the kennel, you're like, oh my God, they're poorly. They're poorly. Do you know what I mean?
They don't go in the
Because they just
kennels.
don't go. They just don't. But the routine's massive for us. It's one of the things that my dad always drilled into me was, you've got to keep your routine solid, because dogs need to know what's coming, what's happening.
Like what they're waiting for or what they're looking forward to.
They need to know. And the other thing is when to exercise and when to rest. A massive part, I think, with greyhounds is that resting time and the recovery, because it's a massive part of racing. Is not
to having any kind of longevity to if they don't relax, if they're not calm.
That they're not relaxing, they're not healing themselves, they're not kind of getting the rest that they need, because like we're saying, they do short bursts of exercise, but they're using so many muscles and they're going at 40 odd miles an hour when they're running. They need to recover from that, and knowing when to rest is a massive part of that. Yeah,
well, she seems to know when to rest. She seems very relaxed, which is really nice. So she might run at the weekend. There is racing all the time, you've said, obviously more than ever now for greyhounds. You've told me they often will run once a week.
Yeah, so it's a trainer's personal choice. I am able to keep my dogs fit here in the paddock, so I don't think that they need to run more than once every 7 days. If it's 6 days, it's not the end of the world, but I don't like the quick runs, the sort of 4 or 5 days in between constantly. I think the greyhounds probably only got so many races in them, and for me with owners, I want that longevity from them. I want them to have the rest, I want them to have the recovery, I want them to have the treatment that stops the big injuries from coming. So once a week I think is more than enough, but other trainers have different methods. And
so racehorses, you can literally run them one day and then the next day if you wanted to. You can do that with these?
We have a 4-day rule in place by the GBGB, and I think it's a maximum of 6 runs in 28 days.
So they've got
there's protection in place.
They're helping to make sure you're not running them too much.
Exactly, because there's so much racing going on, there's so many meetings, and it's hard to keep track as well. As a trainer, I've got sort of 70 odd dogs to keep an eye on here, and also keeping an eye on what the racing officer doing in terms of, has this dog hasn't had a run this week, or that dog's had a quick run. it's a massive thing of management.
Yeah.
And especially with the wide runners, because I think just about every track in the country is short of wide runners.
Oh, really?
So they just seem to be on the card so much more. So it's a thing of being a greyhound trainer isn't just training greyhounds. It is managing owners, greyhounds, managing the team that are here. It's so much more of a mental thing than I think most people realise.
Yeah.
Because it is a balancing act between wanting to spend all your time with the dogs but having so much more to do.
Yeah.
And such as things like dealing with the racing office and booking trials and all of that, it's something that people don't see. Or if you get a card and you think, oh, that dog only ran on Sunday, it's out again on Thursday, but when there's so many, it's hard to keep track, and you need some mental maths going.
Yeah.
But that's why we sort of have so many people in, and that's why
you need all the staff.
You need all the staff to really keep an eye on things. We're very lucky in terms of at any given time, if we have doubles out, we could probably we've got 17 grass paddocks, so we could have like 30 dogs out at any given time. So that once they're out,
helps.
You've got a little bit of time to kind of check over them and things like that, which we know we're very fortunate to have the land that we've got, which does make the job a lot easier.
I mean, it's a big operation, isn't it?
It's a big operation. It's a big. One of the things that when my dad retired, I was like, but you are going to still cut the grass, aren't you?
Please. I know you said you're lucky because you've got this place, obviously, with your dad and your mum and dad are here, etc. But from a cost point of view, say, have you got to have a substantial amount of dogs to make it a viable business? Could you do it with 10 or 20, or is that then a hobby? Or
you could
how many dogs do people have?
You could do it with, I think one person can see to 20 dogs if they're only doing racing at night.
Okay.
I think that's a reasonably manageable number. It becomes tricky fitting in things like going to the vets and stuff like that, because that could be a full day's job. We use Daniel
with one greyhound.
With one
two.
greyhound, and then you've left however many back at home.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to balance. We're very lucky in terms of staff, but the staff is obviously our biggest expense, is the wages and the pensions and the holiday pay, and that's our biggest expense.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, of course it is.
But so the dogs have to be here to sort of pay that out. There maybe is a better balance. I just can't say no when people ask me, have you got space for this? I struggle to say no.
Yeah.
That's going to be my New Year's resolution, I think. Say no more.
As Leona had already been hands-on with grooming, it was only fair that I got my hands dirty too. And you might think that all dogs get the same, with the bitches a little less, but you would be wrong. A lot of science goes into the nutrition of our athletes.
So we use a mixture of cooked chicken and minced beef. Every dog is weighed every day, so we have like our weight list here. This is what every dog has weighed. So for example, I'll do Sparky's, his weight's down a little bit, so I'm going to increase the food that he has. So he had 750 yesterday. He's getting cooked chicken. It comes in like little cubes. It's cooked with rice, vegetables, all of the good stuff. So he will get about 275 of meat. We'll give him a little bit extra because he's down a little bit. And then we use thyme Greyhound biscuit. This is the thyme 28. And I'm going to weigh it to 800. The good thing about weighing them every day is we can balance the weight and make sure it's perfect, because that's a big part of what we do, is sort of the weight management. So he's on 800, which is an increase from yesterday.
How do you know what the perfect weight for each greyhound is based on their size?
Trial and error is a lot of it. We sort of look at a dog and think, oh, that dog is a little bit down today, or that dog's getting a bit big. So we go back to our weight board and see. We have probably 5 weeks of weights on here for each dog. So you could go back on its form and think, oh, that ran
average.
really well here.
Yeah.
We'll get it at that weight and we'll kind of leave it at that weight.
Yes.
So this is how much food we give them.
And what's the range? So what's the lowest one would be and the highest? You know, so the difference,
So
can
it
it be massive or
depends.
not?
So for example, Sparky's meant to be 84.5 pounds. He's only 83.3 today.
Yeah.
So whereas he had 750 yesterday, I've given him 800.
Because you want to get it back
I want
up
to
to
get
the
it back up to the 84 and a half.
Fine.
So we'll then weigh him tomorrow, see where we go.
He's a
from
big
there.
boy then, is he?
He's
Because
a very
loads
big
are
boy.
much less than
Loads
that.
are much less than that. Sort of
62, 66, much less.
Yeah, we've got some really small ones. She's only 54 and a half. We've got the difference.
So is that a little girl?
Little girl,
Okay.
and he's a very big boy. So we have our sort of meat and biscuit mixture, and then, like I said, we use chopped tomatoes. I think we're out of lard. So we'll put chopped tomatoes on there, and then if they're running, we would use the glucose powder. But as he's not running today, we will just be using Tygard. So this is very much depending on the dog. So he cramps in his races, so we'll put Tygard on there.
Stops the
Different
muscles tying up,
supplements,
right?
Yeah, different supplements for different dogs.
Yep.
But that's kind of the bulk of it. We'll sometimes use bone meal if they've been off a long time, rehydration treatments, all things like that. But that's sort of where we are with the food. And then we'll use...
These are just standard gravy granules. Is this somebody won't eat or...?
That is for when we get back from racing in the summer, we don't want the gravy to go off. So we will put sort of the gravy that the meat's been cooked on just before they have the dinner.
Cool.
So it's nice and chunky for them.
I like gravy. I'm a chips and gravy person.
Oh, I'm a curry.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
curry and chips. So tomatoes are in, we've got our supplements on there. Like I said, he cramps, so he has chicken, but some of the dogs will have sort of lean minced beef. Everything that we feed is sort of human grade. We have salmon in there for the dogs that are on the card and cramp, or just want a bit of a change. You know, we'll give them some salmon sometimes. But yeah, it's all just depending on the dog. The weights really help in terms of kind of feeding and maintaining. It's all about routine, and they know what they're eating. They're quiet now because they know it's not quite dinner time yet.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that sense. Otherwise, we might be deaf.
Do they all start barking when it's food time?
Yeah. So once you go and touch that sort of kennel door, they'll all go mad in that block.
This is going to be fun.
That's the good thing about having different blocks, is that like they won't bark until you touch their door. So
You can get them done in the blocks.
you can get the blocks done
Okay.
each time.
How many of you make the foods?
So-
all of you come in and do it all?
One person will do sort of line up the feeds for that block, and then we'll all go out and feed and do kind of get them out, put them in the paddocks and all of that. It gets a bit chaotic. So we will do hack. So she wants 550. So you will do 200 of that as meat, and her weight is spot on today, so you're fine doing 550. So you want 200 of meat, either chicken or beef, whichever.
Oh, let's give you beef.
So you'll pop that in there. You're going to need a lot more than that.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, these nails, they're coming out on Friday.
A little bit more. No,
Oh, no,
that'll be fine. That'll be
Is that
fine.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you want to leave that. You're going to fill it up so it gets to 550 now with biscuit. Perfect.
Yes.
Aced it.
Thanks.
So now you've got your mince in there and your biscuits.
together?
I do, just so they don't have
You were much quicker than Danny.
full chunks.
You've got about 80 to do, come on.
So then you'll do a couple of glugs of tomato.
Couple of gloves.
Not much.
There we go.
Not put my hand in
Perfect.
that now.
No, but we will put her some glucose on because she has just recovered from racing. So you'll get a spoon.
One of these.
Yep, scoop, and pop that on there.
Like
Sprinkle if you would like. It's very artistic. So there we go. And then just before we feed, we will pop gravy on them and then give it to the dog. So that is all. You just
Do they
have...
all have gravy?
Yes,
Do they?
they will all have gravy.
Nice.
Mm.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. The strength, Rose, that you must have. You don't need to go to the gym, do you?
No.
Good Lord.
Okay.
Right, come on then. Where am I
he's
putting
going
him?
in there.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, have a great time.
Yeah, really.
Oh my God, they are so strong.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'll be gone in 30 seconds. Come.
How many times a day do you feed them, Rose?
They get fed twice a day, so they'll have a breakfast in the morning, which is soaked biscuits, milk powder, yogurt, honey, eggs, things like that. And then at dinner, it will be sort of the biscuits and the meat and the gravy. So twice a day.
Stuff that I've put my hand in.
The lovely meat that they love, yeah.
Fabulous. Rose invited Leona and I back to hers for a brew and to meet her 2 retired companions, who may not rule the roost, but certainly, well, one at least, ruled the sofa. Who is this gorgeous white massive boy?
This is John. His racing name was Lockdown. He had 100 races. He had his 100th race on the same day as I got the keys for my first house. So we decided it was fate and he was coming home with me. So he now resides between my house, my mum and dad's, and the pub at the top of my road. He likes to flip between the 3 of them. He's become quite a well-known character in our village. Everybody loves him and he loves just about everybody's dog.
So looking at him, Rose, he looks like he's pretty happy with life. I was going to say, if greyhounds could talk and talk to you, do you think they'd prefer you or your dad? He obviously chooses both and goes across the 2 of you.
I think if he had the choice, I feed him more than my dad does. So I think he'd probably choose me. I think that goes for most of them up there. I do a lot of the feeding. So I think that most of them would choose with the stomachs.
Now, obviously, you took over from your dad, 6 months ago? We're in the 7th month of the year now. Is it harder or easier than you thought actually being in charge?
We did it quite gradual anyway. So we'd done I took over running this bit and I'd done this bit. I think the thing for me is it's a lot of organisation, kind of organising who's going where, who's doing what. That is, now I've took my dad out of the mix of being able to say, oh, can you do this? It's a little bit trickier, but he will help if he's here. But he likes his little holidays now, which he's
it's
more
a lot
than
of people
entitled
management
to.
As well. Then
people management and dog management. I feel like the chief and with not enough sheriffs sometimes, but yeah.
Now, what's the best advice you received from another trainer? It doesn't have to be someone in the family. It could be elsewhere, because I know you obviously see a lot of people at Sheffield and on the open scene.
I think one of the massive things is, which I've learned over the last decade, is that just do what you think is best. There is a lot of people that will have a lot of opinions on you and your dogs and what you are doing. If what's working for you is working for you, it doesn't matter what other people think. It's none of their business. Everyone's got opinions, and as long as you believe you're doing your very best for your dogs, your staff and yourself, crack on. I don't care what anyone thinks anymore, but that's took a decade to get there.
Yeah, understandably. You talked about your staff, and you've already told us throughout this really that loads of your staff have been here a really long time. As regards hiring staff, and when you look for staff, what would you say if somebody wanted to come and work with greyhounds? What skills do they need? What qualities would you look for? What kind of person do you need to be here?
Someone reliable. That is the biggest thing. Is this job is very hard, and you don't want to be waking up in the morning thinking, oh, have they turned up today? Because this is a 7 days a week job. We are here on a Sunday in the snow. We are here on a Monday in 30 odd degrees. This is 7 days a week. And these dogs don't care that it's Christmas Day. So we need it's people reliable. You've got to have a good work ethic, because it is long hours. It is hard work. It is a lot of steps in a day. It's a lot of pressure on you because you are their entire life, basically. So it's a lot of pressure on you. And then in terms of kind of keeping the owners happy, you've got to have a little bit of personality about you. And the owners like to give a bit, if they've won or if they've got beat, they like to give you a bit of crack, and you've got to run with that sometimes. And for me, you've got to just love the dogs. If you love the dogs, that's brilliant. But I want to see you really connect with them. And I think the best people that come are the ones that just learn the names of the dogs straight away and can just tell them apart straight away. Because it's not the easiest thing, you know. Like I was saying earlier, we've had 3 new dogs come in yesterday, and I haven't got a clue which one's which. Need the names. We've got the name stickers on there for a reason, but you need to like kind of have some interest in the racing side of it as well. You've got to want to follow what the dogs are doing and where they're running and how the form is going, because that's going to tell you, do I need to be looking for something wrong with it? So you've got to have some interest in racing, even if you don't necessarily go.
Now, in this new era of your kind of role as head honcho and the social media side of things that's taken over the world, what role does kind of technology and social media play?
I think it's really good for the owners. So we have a WhatsApp group with all of the owners in there, and we send sort of race cards, trial sheets, trial results, race videos. You know, we'll all say, oh, that's ran well. And, you know, there's a bit more of a community feel in that as well, which means that, you know, I create some small syndicates. So I'll have 4 people that might not know each other, and like they can get to know each other through the WhatsApp group. And, you know, they all want the dogs well and winning. So it's a massive thing in WhatsApp. I am not brilliant with the rest of social media, but we do our best with the rehoming, especially on Facebook. That seems to get a really good reach on it. But there's just not enough hours in a day.
Yeah, you're a social media manager as well as all the other roles you've given us. If you weren't any of those things, if you weren't a social media manager and an owner management person and a greyhound trainer and a head of staff, what would you be? What did you plan to do at school before then? What would you do if you weren't a greyhound trainer? Was there ever another plan?
When I was about 10, I decided I wanted to be Julie Collier. That was my end game, was I wanted to be on Sky Sports Greyhounds like Julie Collier. So I finished my A-levels and I did a journalism degree. And the aim was always to get a job outside of the industry. And then I graduated, handed my dissertation in on the day we went into lockdown.
Oh, wow.
So then it was just like, I was already working for Racing Post TV at the time, and I stayed there for 5 years. And then I really enjoyed the rehoming. I did a bit of fundraising for Sheffield Retired Greyhounds, and then they kind of, Overton came on and said, do you mind helping us fundraise? So I do that on the side as well, which I'm really passionate about, but I just love the dogs. Whether they're racing, retired, I'm not bothered. I just like the dogs.
But you do have another love as well in the sporting world.
Yeah, up the blades. It was a painful end of the season. A painful end. It was one of them where I didn't go to Wembley this year. And I was sat there in the pub watching it, and I was thinking, oh my God, we're going to do it and I'm not there. We're going to do it and I'm not there. And then we got to the second half and I thought, I knew better.
Yeah, you're glad you didn't go to London.
Would have been a long way home.
Yeah. Well, as you can hear, they don't want us here anymore. It's raining. Leona, I think we need to go.
We're going. It's too noisy. Let's go.
Yeah. Bye, Rose.